Okay, first of all, once again, proud of our team with a convincing win at home against LSU. Our helmet stickers for the game on offense, Alec Jackson got it, our left tackle. He played his best game. He was against their best pass rusher on third down and did a super job with that. He played with good technique and he was very physical in the run game, so he got our offensive helmet sticker. And I will say this, I almost gave it to our entire offensive line. I mean, they played a complete game. Um, they gave our quarterback time to throw, and they were physical in the run game. Defensively, I gave it to our entire defensive line. I mean, to hold those guys to 32 yards rushing when we knew they'd come in here and try to run the football with a freshman quarterback making his first start on the road, and then we harassed the quarterback better than we've done the entire year, so that they really took a step forward. And so it's real encouraging for me from the game is the offensive and defensive lines really took that next step and some things they can build upon. And then special teams, Zion Puckett, he starts on all four units and has been very, very consistent. And of course, he had the recovery of the onside kick late in the game and just had an outstanding game, we felt like. So I said overall, it was a very good win for us. We have areas, after watching the film that we can keep improving, and we will address those this week. Really our goal this week is just to improve, each individual with the techniques of the particular scheme and the fundamentals of that. And so we'll focus on improving us, and we'll get a little bit into Mississippi State later in the week. We're in the process of we practiced tonight. We just got off the practice field. We kept the same routine today. We came in and graded our film, watched our film with our players, and we had about a 30-minute practice and really focused on the corrections from the game. Guys have an off day, and then obviously they're off Tuesday. And then we'll be back. We'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and give our guys off Saturday. So, and this will also be a great week for us to heal up. I mean, it's been a grind with 6 weeks of fall camp that was very physical, then 6 straight SEC games, and so we're going to do some healing up this week too. Jamie and Sherwood, I got asked about that after the game. It's good that we have an off week. I don't know if he'd be able to play if we had to play this week, but there is a chance for the next week. So we're hoping that he'll heal up and be ready. Obviously, he's one of our impact players, on our team. Questions?
First is Jason Caldwell.
Yes, I guess a couple of questions about first, Alec. You've seen him move from defense to offense. Just how impressed have you been with how quick he's been able to do it, and then how valuable is this week for a guy like him to have a chance to go back and watch the technique side of things that you don't normally have during a week?
You're exactly right, because usually you're so consumed with the opponent and the things they do and their personnel and the schemes, and so it'll be really good for him. And what we're going to do tomorrow really as a staff is just watch every snap offensively and defensively and special teams and with the different calls and really evaluate the first 6 games, what we're good at, what we're not, what schemes are best for us and all that. So we'll do that tomorrow, and then we'll ask our players to take a look at themselves and those different plays and schemes too. So he'll be one of those guys, but we were real concerned about number 8. I mean, you turn the film on and he was really scary, and I thought Alex really did a good job of handling the third down pass rush, and he really did a real good job in the run game. You can tell he's getting more confident. He's understanding what Coach Bicknell wants.
Next is Tom Green.
Gus, you mentioned the offensive line overall, but just what did you take away from Keandre's start there in place of Brandon?
I really thought he did a really good job for his first start. And the thing about it, there's nothing like getting that first start under your belt. I mean, he made a couple things that he'll correct technique-wise, but he really knew his assignment well, I thought. I thought he really worked well with Brodarius and Nick on either side of him. And, he should have a lot of confidence, after one start against a quality defensive front.
Jordan Hill's next.
Gus, how valuable can this week be? Like you said, we don't know about Jamie and for the Mississippi State game. How valuable is a bye week for in case he can't go, you guys can look at some of those other defensive backs to step up.
Yeah, I think not just for that, but for everything. We're going to also try to keep developing our depth. I mean, you saw yesterday we played a lot of young guys, and just trying to continue to develop our depth and heal up the guys that need to be healed up, and then take some things off some of our skill guys' legs that have been going full throttle for 12 straight weeks too. So, that'll help in a lot of different areas.
Steve Moulton is next.
Yes, Coach. One question about yesterday. I know you referenced it with the tackle made by Anders Carlson on the kick return. How big of a point do you think that was at that point in the game, you think, Coach?
I mean, it would have gave them a lot of momentum. I think it was right before half, wasn't it, that and changed the dynamics of the game. So, I mean, that was a heck of an open field tackle. I mean, it was really textbook. So that was huge. And the week before, he made their other kicker miss, and so that was a big play.
Next is Gianna Hahn.
Hi, Gus. What did you see out of your wide receivers this game, and how big was their performance, especially the top three receivers, to getting the offense moving the way it did?
Yeah, especially on the perimeter, you look at, Eli, we ran a little RPO type deal, and the corner went, with the extra receiver, and we threw it out on the edge, and I think he got 30, 35 yards, something like that. And then, Eli did a super job, even running the jet sweeps on the perimeter, and of course Flash, he did his thing. He got loose a couple times on the perimeter too, and Seth did his normal. So you just that group is a very confident group. You can tell Bo is really starting to click with those guys, and so it was good to see.
Mark Murphy is next.
Gus, is your defensive line getting healthier?
I think so. We're hoping to have all hands on deck after this week, and we got a chance to play some young guys too, a little bit more than they normally would, the whole really fourth quarter. So I think that definitely helped. There's nothing like getting out there and it's game time and it's a game and feeling what it feels like and for an extended period of time and not just going out there for a play or two. So, I think that'll help us in the long run too.
Includes like Jay Hardy and Daniel Foster Allen.
Yeah, Jay Hardy, he's had that ankle, and he did practice last week, which was good, but he just wasn't ready to play. So hopefully after another week, of things, he'll be ready to go.
Thanks.
Justin Ferguson's next.
Hey guys, following up on Gianna's question, with the wide receivers, how pleased were you with the amount of blocking you saw on the edges? That was an area y'all were able to hit, and pretty much everybody involved had some impact blocks out there.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, and Coach Barnes has been talking about. Man, we got to block on the perimeter better. I mean, that was really his emphasis and his challenge to his receiver group, and I really feel like they took that next step. Thought they did a very good job on the perimeter blocking, and it wasn't just one of them; it was really all of them, and they probably had their best game on the perimeter yesterday.
Nathan King is next.
Hey, Gus. Hey, some of the guys were talking after the game about how important they thought it was that the backups were able to play a lot for really the first time this season. What did you see out of some of those young guys that were really able to get their first big playing time?
Yeah. I mean, I saw some good things, man. We saw some things we got to correct, and that's to be expected. But, the uniqueness of this year, having 10 SEC games, that was really the first time we got a chance to really give those guys a good quarter plus, a chance to show what they can do. And so there's nothing like getting out there the first time, like I said. So, that'll help us in a lot of different ways the last 4 games.
Next is Philip Marshall.
Gus, a big win like that sometimes provides a great deal of momentum, and sometimes it can end up kind of being fool's gold. What do you tell your players to understand that the importance of building on it as opposed to, I guess, resting on it?
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's a good question. We did play our best game yesterday, and I told our guys it's about us improving, continuing to improve. And I just told them to, as they're watching the film, even though we feel really good about a very, very quality win, but we got to be really critical of ourselves with the things that we can improve on. And that's what we're focused on. And it was just more of a challenge that, we got to continue to improve. And if we continue to improve and we protect the football, we'll be tough to beat. And really, that's really on our leadership. That's on our coaches to make sure nobody gets complacent. But because of everything we went through this year and the uniqueness of this season and COVID and everything else that goes with it, I feel real strong. I don't believe we're going to be patting ourselves on the back. I mean, I think it's just more of we've worked extremely hard. It can give us some confidence moving forward. And like I said, our offensive and defensive lines played their best games, and so I thought that was real encouraging. And, we got this week that we'll work on improving us, not worried about an opponent, but improving us and work on improving a little bit, next game from Mississippi State. And so it's really as simple as that. And we got 4 games left, so I don't see any negatives about the way we won yesterday.
David Pascal is next.
Hey, Gus, I know last week I asked you about all the close games that it seems like you guys always play in, but you've had some of these like yesterday before. I think LSU in 2014 when Georgia came in number 1 in 2017, and especially that bowl game in Nashville where you guys just run away with it. Is there a common thread to those type of results like yesterday compared to a lot of the close games you're in?
I think at times teams play their best games towards the end of the year, and all those games you just talked about were really on the second half of the season. And I tell our team all the time, very few teams in college football continue to improve. You see it every year. Some of them are playing lights out at the first, and they kind of hit a plateau. And, so we've always been one of those teams that pride ourselves on, we're going to be one of those few teams that continue to improve. And really, so that's really our message here. And, I think that's what you saw in the game 6. We played our best game. Now we got to continue to keep doing that.
We have a follow-up from Jordan Hill.
Guys, you've talked to us before about Anthony getting more involved in the offense, and he had the second most receptions, had that big play. Just what you saw from him Saturday, how much is that sort of what you envision him being able to bring to this offense?
Yeah, he's worked really hard on just being a complete receiver, and I think he's had an outstanding year. And it's good to see that deep ball. He's a deep threat now. And then early in the game, I know we tried to get it to him, and they kind of double covered him with a safety on one, but just finding ways to match him up one-on-one. And then he's so deadly, with the short game too and the perimeter game. And it was good to see.
Gianna Hahn is next.
Coming into the season, we heard so much about the competition for that cornerback position. Obviously, a bunch of injuries kind of messed with what you guys were expecting. But how have you seen that competition continue through the season, and how have you seen all those different guys grow?
Yeah, we had an injury, after the first game. Damio was another guy that's been injured, and both those guys are back now and giving us more depth. And so, I think our secondary's done a very good job. Especially early in the season, we didn't get a real strong pass rush some games, and they had to cover them a little bit longer than normal. But I think that group's done a really good job.
Tom Green.
So you guys have gone, I guess, close to 2 months now without a positive COVID test, with the bye week and the guys having a couple days off, toward the end of the week. Do you have any concerns about that when some of them might return home? And I guess just what's the message to the team in that case?
Yeah, the message was the number one thing we have to do this week is have COVID etiquette and be responsible. That's going to be a huge key to the last 4 games and our success. So I just challenged them individually, and as a group that let's make sure we do a great job, this week, the next 2 days, this weekend. I really expect our guys to do that, but that's going to be a really big key to our success the last 4 games.
Mark Murphy.
How important was it to get your very young backup linebackers some playing time?
It was good, and of course you saw them really in the first half. They got some quality reps, just trying to get their feet wet and not just play at the end of a game and the end of the type situations. I mean, so Travis put the guys in there, rotated them a little bit early to get their feet wet and get experience.
McCreary playing really well right now at corner.
Yeah, Rogers really established himself as our guy, and I think he's probably one of the best corners in our league at this point.
Thanks.
Steve Moulton.
Coach, you mentioned about getting better week to week. I'm curious what you've seen now that you can kind of focus a little more on yourself this week. Where do you feel like your team's improved the most from Kentucky to LSU, Coach?
It's hard to pick one area. I think it's more of when you don't go through spring. I think it's our coaches are kind of, especially how inexperienced we were. I think they're learning about their guys the first few games and putting the pieces of the puzzle really on both sides to figure out to build around their strengths. And so I think you saw that really on both sides yesterday. And I was real proud of our staff and our coordinators for the plans they put together and our guys going out and executing it. So I don't think there's one area. I think it's just collective of the circumstance and started to come together yesterday. Like I said, we're a work in progress. I think I said that a couple of weeks ago with offense, and that's the truth. And now things are starting to come together.
And Tank Bigsby, I know a lot's been mentioned about him, and really, what has he brought into that running back room there for Cadillac?
The guy breaks tackles. He runs. Him and Warren both, they break tackles and they fall forward and they try to run people over, and just that physicality in both of them can really run. They got great speed.
Brian Matthews.
Coach, thank you for speaking to us. What did it mean to you to get that game ball in the post-game locker room, and was that one of the celebrations that you're going to remember when you look back on it?
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. That was a pretty neat deal. I think it's the first time that's kind of happened since I've been here. And so KJ gave it to me, presented it to me. That was a really, really special deal. Got to lead the fight song and kind of celebrate with the guys afterwards. That was a special moment for me.
And a quick follow-up, if I may. Is Sherwood, is it a foot, an ankle, and how much of a relief is it to know that it's not too serious?
Yeah, it's his ankle, and it's been his ankle. Matter of fact, both ankles have been banged up this year, and he retweaked one on one of the plays, and so that's what it was. And so hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll have him back by our next game. We'll see how that goes. There is a chance, but we'll just have to see how that thing progresses the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
A few more follow-ups. Philip Marshall.
Gus, 9 SEC teams right now have losing records, which obviously means 5 have winning records. Just talk about how difficult it is to play an SEC game every single week.
Yeah, Philip, that's a good point. So, when I'm sitting there and looking at the coaches poll that I fill out of top 25, okay, that what I asked myself, if those other teams were in the SEC and they played a 10-game schedule, how would they do? And that's what I asked myself, because it's such a unique year from the standpoint, it's never been done. Playing 10 SEC games is a survival of the fittest. And so when you compare that to other conferences or other teams, I just, that's the way I look at it. And I asked myself, what would their record be if they had the same deal? So that's how I'm voting.
Thanks.
Justin Ferguson.
Hey, guys, you guys threw 3 balls to J.J. Pegues yesterday. I'm pretty sure all 3 of them were rather successful plays. I mean, how much of a weapon is he when you can get him the ball in space like that?
Yeah, he is. And if you can get his shoulders, square, it's tough for secondary guys to really tackle him. And, he plays with great physicality. And he's a guy that we talked about last couple of weeks, is that he'd probably be getting the ball a little bit more. And now you see that, and I thought that was a good game, to get him started.
Get two more. The first is Jason Caldwell and then Jeff Shear.
Gus, after going back and watching film and watching Bo and doing his progressions, did you see that as much of a step forward as it appeared yesterday?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He was more comfortable in the pocket. Of course, we protect him well against the SEC's leading sack leaders, So, and he was calm. And really, what impressed me is just, when something wasn't there, he made plays with his feet. He made some plays on his own, and he looked really fast. He looked as fast as he's been, and he protected the football. And of course, the 5-yard run for a touchdown. The safety's waiting on him out there, and made a guy miss and went in the end zone. But yeah, I really think he played his best game. I know he played extremely well against Mississippi State last year, but I just told him, I said, you just played your best game, and I can just see his comfort and his confidence level, and you could just kind of sense it.
Important is it that decisiveness to get positive yards instead of maybe rolling out and kind of trying to extend plays, but to say, hey, fast enough to make guys miss and get upfield and make some positive yards in the run game.
Yeah, he had 91 yards rushing or whatever. That's really something.
Gus, speaking of post-game celebrations, you and Christy have had a tradition for many years, kind of throughout your career, of going out to get something to eat. In COVID etiquette world, what's the substitute now?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm real disappointed I can't go to my Waffle House after the game. So it's a weird year, like we talk about in a lot of different ways, but so pretty uneventful now. We just go to the house, and I think we had it delivered, had a little Mexican food delivered last night, and watched a little football. So that's really what it is in 2020.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Gus, Waffle House, you can pick up there, buddy. It's good. We've done it.
Yeah, there you go.